Hello, everybody. Welcome to the fourth installment in the Film Nobodies podcast. As you can see from the pumpkin, we are doing a sort of Halloween special here. So we are going to be talking about none other than the original Halloween movie from 1978 with Michael Myers. I grew up with this movie. It's very nostalgic for me. And I mean, obviously, since I grew up with it, who do you think put me onto the movie? He loves this movie as well.
You're welcome.
Yeah. We'll get into what we like and dislike about it, but I just want to hear your first thoughts about the movie.
Iconic movie. John Carpenter. I think it's either his first movie or one of his first movies.
Yeah, I think so. One of his first.
He and Deborah Hill wrote it. Deborah Hill was the writer on part 2 and part 3. Part 3 just kind of went off on its own tangent, but
yeah.
Of course, Jamie Lee Curtis kind of started and became the Scream Queen because of it, and it really shot off as a whole new subgenre within horror and started a whole new chain of events, really. So I love it because I remember as a kid watching it, and it's weird when a horror movie about a serial killer gives you like comfort feelings about childhood, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's just something that you remember watching, and it's just very fallish and very Halloween-ish. So it makes you just kind of feel the season more when you watch it. So that's why.
I mean, it's the Halloween movie. It's literally called Halloween. So I mean, like, it's obviously very in tune with the vibe of autumn and the season. So.
Yeah, 100%. And I like John Carpenter movies for the most part. I think some of his stuff is a little cheesy, but he does have a few really good ones. And this one, although it does have cheesy moments in it, it really established like a whole new way to do horror.
Yes.
And so you have to give credit for that. But I think the first thing we talk about really is kind of the plot, and how the story was told. The plot's really, you were saying this earlier, it's like really simple.
It's very
basic movie.
Yeah, because I mean, it revolutionized the horror genre. It created the slasher subgenre.
Yeah.
So.
But it created a unique way to scare you because of some of the visuals. I think there's maybe we don't give that movie enough credit because so much time has passed. So there's been so much change in the horror industry that it's hard to really. If you in order to appreciate Halloween and where it's coming from in the POV it has, you have to really set yourself in the mindset of 1978.
You do.
When that movie was put out, and movies at that time, and the horror movies, if you go back and you watch horror movies in the 60s and 70s, and how this one was unique and different, and some of the visuals of like Michael Myers and him just kind of appearing, just the mask in the darkness of a door frame,
or just outside a window, or in a car or whatever.
Yeah, or the scene where he stabs the guy in the chest and pins him to the wall, which is totally illogical but still, just the scene where they have of him, just staring at him doing this thing. Those are things you didn't find in movies back then, so it was very creepy, and it really set you on edge. And they did a really good job, like building the suspense through the movie because it's actually a slow burner.
Yeah, it is a slow burner. Like, I could see why people kind of find it a little boring because, I mean, if you didn't grow up with it and you just watch it straight off, it comes across as slow. I mean, because it's very basic, and a lot of the scenes drag intentionally because it tries to build suspense for Michael, right?
Yeah.
But I think my favorite part about the plot is the fact that he's driven by nothing else but evil. Like, he is evil incarnate.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that, before watching it. They just kind of think he's a dude. I mean, he is just a dude, but he is the definition of evil. He has no other motivations. He just wants to kill his sister, and that's what the whole movie's about, is him being so evil that he just wants to escape his mental institute after, 15 years or whatever, just to kill his sister, right? And it progresses over 13 movies, 15 movies, whatever. So I really like that because it's so basic, but it's so effective.
Yeah.
Right. It drives the plot effectively, And it's a short movie for a reason because it's still basic.
Yeah.
But it works so well. It's super satisfying, especially when you see Laurie Strode end up, escaping him in the end.
Yeah.
Because he's horrifying.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and one thing that everyone is probably super familiar with the theme to Halloween.
Yeah.
And it's immediately recognizable, and it's a creepy little tune, but it's so simple.
Yeah.
If you ever watched any of the documentaries on Halloween, the whole movie was made very simply, and that's really just John Carpenter on a keyboard, pressing a few keys in that melody that we're all very familiar with now. But
it's iconic,
but so effective. I mean, it's very simple but very effective. The whole movie to me is what's appealing about it is the aesthetic. The Halloween aesthetic. You got this serial killer who has nothing else in life to do but go kill for no reason. He's just a killing machine. With this creepy but simple music, all set on Halloween.
Yeah.
And you got your innocent victims that he's chasing down. It's all very simple but cut and dry. And it just is played out over the ages because it really set in motion a whole different way of doing slasher films.
Yeah.
Really kind of created the slasher film, and there's been a million copycats ever since then. I don't think they did a great job in the late sequels they did just recently. I think the first one of those was good, but the last couple I thought were lacking.
I'd say the first two were like, the peak of the original or the whole franchise, because it's like it has that, strong effectiveness that the other ones kind of lack, even 4, 5, and 6, which I think aren't bad, definitely don't meet up to the first two because they're just not as effective.
Yeah, that's on part 2, the original part 2, those two movies, part 1 and part 2, I will say, I think Halloween 2 may be one of the best sequels of any movie franchise.
It is amazing.
It's like one seamless movie. John Carpenter did a great job extending the plot of part 1 into part 2 from the setting, the everything and how it played out the storyline was really well done. Again, cheesy parts throughout.
Yeah.
But
you're gonna get that,
But it's still it was one. It's like one long movie. If you watch them together, you don't see a fault in that, which is really well done. I will say, so if we talk about the performances a little bit, so the plot is very simple, and there are some flaws in the plot. But
bunch of cliches, but it created the cliches.
Yeah, exactly. It's the stereotypical.
You have to look at it.
They're the ones that created it.
Yeah.
But the performances were definitely lackluster.
So.
Jamie Lee Curtis did a decent job, but definitely not like her best job ever. Or
yeah, I mean, like you said, she was labeled the Scream Queen because of that movie. So I mean, her performance has some, it's noteworthy to some extent. But I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, none of the performances were anything crazy. I mean, all the actor for even Michael Myers had to do was walk around in a mask.
That's an easy paycheck.
Yeah.
Donald Pleasance was kind of the anchor for the movie. At the time, a lot of people may not even know who Donald Pleasance is now, but he was a big time, old timey actor. Did a lot of great things in the 50s and 60s. So him being in that movie was really important to upgrade the seriousness of that film at the time.
Right.
So he was an important anchor in that movie, and even his performance was you could tell he was doing it to get paid. But it's
because they didn't know how great it was going to
Yeah.
do in the box office. They didn't know how iconic it was going to become.
It was a cheaply made movie, which, by the way, fun fact, it was made during the summer. So if you ever go back and you watch the Halloween movie,
that's right.
you'll notice a lot of green trees. But somehow there's a lot of dead leaves rolling around on the streets. That's because they had to throw a bunch of leaves that they had collected out and with big fans and blowing around to make it look like it was fall.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of greenery for a place that's supposed to be in the Midwest somewhere.
That's actually a crazy fun fact. It's like the movie about Halloween, like for people to watch during Halloween. It's not even shot during Halloween.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So could that be a 4th of July movie?
Maybe. I don't know.
So the performances were a little lackluster. The plot's a little cliche and is flawed. But yet the visuals really drove the movie, and I think what really is very creepy is a lot of the silent POV of the killer of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And just his whole effect in the movie, and that's the movie. That is the movie. That is Halloween, and everyone recognizes the Halloween Michael Myers mask. They all recognize the Halloween movie melody for a reason. You don't really remember. You don't have quotes really. I mean, there are actually a couple good quotes in there, like when Jamie Lee Curtis had stabbed Michael Myers, and then he gets up again and attacks her, and then Donald Pleasance comes in and shoots him, and she says, "It was the boogeyman," and he says, "As a matter of fact, it was." To me, that's probably the only quotable moment in the movie.
Yeah, it's not known for its writing.
Yeah, it's not really known for its writing. But anyway, for some reason, though, it all still clicks, and I think it's because of the effect it had on the horror genre so many years ago. That's cascaded through time, and we still love that movie for that reason, right? And to me, I think Part 2 is actually a better movie, a better produced movie.
That's interesting.
But it wouldn't have happened, obviously, without Part 1. So in terms of slasher films, where do you see Halloween ranking? When you think about Friday the 13th,
like the original slashers.
All the OG slashers from the late 70s into let's say into the mid 90s.
Man, it's tough because they're all iconic for a reason. They're all basically just as iconic as Halloween because.
Well, we're a different generation here, so it's interesting to hear what your thoughts are on this, and then compare it to mine. Yeah. Yeah. If you had to compare it to things that you saw a little bit later to when you were born compared to me.
I'd say obviously I love Michael Myers. I'd probably say he's one of the best. I'd probably say there's always the rivalry between Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees. They're very similar, and a lot of people choose a side, kind of, at least in my generation. So I would have to say that Michael is better just because I grew up with him, and I think he has more I don't know. He just has more. He's more intimidating than Jason is, because I feel like Jason has more of a purpose, and Michael is just more evil incarnate, and he's stronger just because he's evil, and so I kind of appreciate that about his character. A lot of these other slashers have these backstories that make them more human. So I think what makes Michael Myers so scary is that he doesn't really have that, So he just is. He just exists, Yeah. So I'd say I have to choose him over most others, but I think my favorite would have to be Ghostface. He is absolutely iconic. Probably. I could even dare say that he's even more iconic than Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees. The face is just like who doesn't know the Ghostface? You know what I mean? So I say on a
it's definitely more recent, so it's a lot more people.
Yeah, and for me it's more relatable, or maybe not relatable, but it's more actually scary for me because it's closer to my generation. Yeah. So it hits more at home with me personally, but I also don't want to discount any very recent slashers that have come out, like the Clown and Terrifier. I think he's a great new installment in the slasher category. I feel like we haven't had a great one like that in a while, probably since Ghostface, someone as iconic as that. And I think Art the Clown is going to hit that point.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Granted, the movies are way gorier and definitely not, it's made for adults for sure. The other ones are, but this one especially. Yeah. But it's still, it still hits the mark. He's in Halloween Horror Nights this year. He's got his own house, and people in my generation notice Art the Clown.
Well, I have not watched the Terrifier.
Yeah. You have to brace yourself.
Yeah, and the one thing that kind of I hesitate on those is because they're super hyper realistic gore that they have in those movies, and those things. I don't. They really make me.
Yeah, I know you're not a big fan of Saw. Gory gory stuff.
Which is another reason why I like Halloween so much, because it has a scare factor, or at least it did for its time. I mean, not for today's generations, because they're used to a much higher level of gore. But for its time, it was able to scare you without a lot of gore.
Yeah, you know? That's very true. And that's why I respect it.
Yeah, and that's why to me it was so effective. But I'm an originalist, so I'm gonna go with Michael Myers as being the top brand there. But I do see, in the '90s, I was a big fan of Ghostface too, and that had its own franchise for a reason. It was really good. Friday the 13th, Freddy, Chucky.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger is also a very big one.
But I do think Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Ghostface are probably the top three.
I'd say so.
Recognizable as traditional slashers. You could throw Freddy in there.
I'd say those are the three best too.
But,
Ghostface, Jason, and Michael Myers definitely top three.
Yeah, you got a lot of fun with talking about who could be who, and like Jason versus Freddy.
Yeah, they have a rivalry of their own. Yeah. I mean, I always just kind of thought Freddy was kind of a goober. He's got this weird aesthetic. I mean, he's nightmarish. He's scary. But I've always loved how truly intimidating and silent Jason and Michael are.
Well, there's one thing that's interesting about Michael Myers and Jason is that there are moments when, like with Jason, in the backstory with Jason, it's interesting because you feel for his character and for certain times until he's demolishing people.
Yeah.
But
you do feel.
Yeah, but he wouldn't hurt children, so you always kind of he's respectable, But Freddy was just a complete.
He's an actual monster.
He's a pedophile.
Yeah,
I mean, you actually want to hate Freddy.
Yeah.
Jason and Michael Myers are kind of like these. I don't know how you would call it, fun serial killers.
I think that's a bit of a stretch.
But Freddy is everything you actually hate.
You feel gross about Freddy.
Yeah, because Jason and Michael they're just fake. They're fake. But Freddy represents something that's kind of real in the world, and you're like, I fucking hate that guy.
Yeah.
Well, can I say that?
I think you're okay.
Okay. Yeah. But
we're talking about blood and guts and stuff, so.
True. So I always thought that was kind of funny about with the character that Robert Englund played as Freddy, and with Halloween and Michael Myers, it felt more fun because it was so ridiculous.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, it's kind of hard to say because I mean, Freddy is one of the best. He's one of the greats, but there's something about Michael and Jason that always just hit the mark for me. I think they're just the definition of what a slasher serial killer should be. This intimidating creature that doesn't talk and just stabs and kills people and just does all these crazy stuff, and they're unkillable. Freddy has this weird. He has these angles that he goes around. He's more agile with his abilities, but these guys just don't care. They will go up to you straight up, look you in the face, and stab you. And I respect that about those killers. So
you respect those killers.
Okay.
Yes,
that's a stretch. I respect the writing of their characters.
So with so we talked a lot about different horror movies and how this one stacks up, but zoom out, right? Horror movies in general, not just the slasher films and not just Halloween. What are your top five?
Top five horror movies. Okay, well, I've been thinking about this, right? It's very hard. I think everybody thinks that this is a hard question. It's it's just like asking what your top five movies are. Mm-hmm. We had a hard time in the first episode with that. And it's just as difficult with these because there's so many good ones and there's so many bad ones, right? Mm-hmm. So
it is a genre.
It is
chock full of crap.
Yeah, and it's and as a result, it's just full of stuff. Period. It's full of subgenres and all this stuff that it's really hard to decide. But I mean, to get to the point, I guess I think I have a top five. I think at the number 5, I'd probably put the first Conjuring. Kind of changed horror as well. Made. I mean, it didn't make the paranormal genre, obviously, but I think it revolutionized it. I think it changed the way people filmed paranormal films. I think it kind of hit like a crossroads at some point in the 2000s, and then once The Conjuring dropped, it was like, oh, holy shit, like.
I think Conjuring brought back kind of mainstream movie making when it comes to paranormal.
Yeah,
because you had
you
had all of this movies about the found footage type stuff.
That's true. That was a big trend.
Yeah, and that was good for its time, but it had its moment and it passed. And then I felt like Conjuring kind of brought us back to the days of Poltergeist.
Yeah, I think that's a good take.
Like good, solid paranormal movies that were had high production value.
Yeah.
Really enjoy The Conjuring. That's in my top 5 too, but I'll let you finish.
Yeah, I mean, I think James Wan is kind of a genius. I think like you said, he kind of brought it back. And The Conjuring 2 is also amazing as well, and he made that as well. So huge props to James Wan, because I feel like he gets heavily overlooked as a horror director.
He does make some.
He makes some
stuff.
volunteer, but
yeah.
like he's made some consistent bangers in the past.
Yeah.
So you gotta respect him.
You do.
Yeah. At the number 4 spot, I'd probably have to put The Witch by Robert Eggers. Very, very slow.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah. It's very slow. Kind of goes under the radar as well. So does Robert Eggers' filmography in general. But with The Witch, I'd say it's you have to really be in the mood for it and the vibe. But once you are, it really hits. It's a slow burner. About this.
Let me guess, a witch.
Well, yes, but it's not in the sense, with the pointy hat and the crooked nose. It's very realistic, hyper realistic. Like I think the director studied for years to get the culture of like the 1600s Salem, because it's about a Salem family that moves into the countryside, and they experience this witch who lives nearby, like kind of messing with their family, taking their kid and stuff, and like it slowly. Disrupts his family's life, and as a result, horrible things happen. And I think it's really well done.
That's got Joy in it, right? Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yes, Anya Taylor-Joy's in it. I think that's one of her best roles, actually. I mean, that was one of the things that really brought her out into the mainstream, along with Split, with James McAvoy.
Yeah.
So those two movies really brought her into the limelight and made her kind of A-list because they're so incredible. So there's that. I'd say number 3, I'd have to put It Chapter 1 from 2017. Probably the best horror movie I've seen, in the last 10 years, I think. Yeah. It's really, really incredible. They take the original, what was it, TV series or whatever, like a short mini-series, yeah. They had a mini-series in the 80s or whatever, and I think people kind of overlooked Pennywise for a very, very long time. And, they just kind of looked at the book, It was like, oh, the book is amazing, but, like, nothing else, And then they adapted it again in 2017, saw it in theaters, and I think it blew everybody's mind. It was it became super iconic. Pennywise.
Really well done.
Yeah, Pennywise kind of went to the top of the list. I wouldn't know if you'd call him a slasher, but he went to the top of horror icon.
No, lists, he's not the traditional slasher type.
Yeah, but he's on their level because he's just. Who was the guy that played Pennywise? It was Bill Skarsgård. Bill Skarsgård did an amazing job as Pennywise.
Those eyes, man.
Yeah, it's insane. The makeup that they do for him, they really make it work. And the kid actors are
really
incredible.
Brought it to life in a way that made the movie so hit so hard. It was really, really well done. So
in the directing, the creepy visuals, it's horrifying watching it. It's scary for nowadays. So I'd have to put that in the 3 spot because it kind of changed the way I looked at horror movies.
If that's number 3, then what is number 2 and 1?
Oh, I think what's in at least one of the movies that's in the top 2. Okay, obviously, since we're talking about it, I have to put Halloween in the number 2 spot. Okay, I grew up with it. It's nostalgic. Surprise, surprise. But I love this movie. Super basic, but like we talked about, it's super effective. And I think it deserves the limelight it has. And I don't think there's any other movie that really matches the Halloween vibe that this movie has, right? And I love Michael Myers. He's probably one of my favorite characters in all of fiction, right? Yeah. So I'd say I have to put it in the number 2 spot. But the number 1 kind of hinted at it earlier, right? I have to say Scream is my favorite horror movie of all time.
You would put Scream above Conjuring?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised myself because I've had years to think about it. I've thought about this for years. Like, what is my favorite horror movie of all time? And I think the only one that feels right now, currently, is Scream, because it's just perfect in the sense of horror. You have the plot twist at the end that change, like you're trying to figure out who it is the whole movie, and then the plot twist. I won't spoil it, but the plot twist changes everything. It revolutionized the slasher genre that Halloween created. Like, Halloween started it, Scream revolutionized it, and I think it twisted it in its own way that was like amazing. Like, when I watch, I look forward. I don't like rewatching movies because, like, whenever I figure out the plot of something, I kind of just like, okay, and then when I watch it again, I'm like, I already know what happens, right? But I mean, I know what happens in Scream. Still love watching it every time. And Ghostface is an incredible slasher. Also changed how a slasher kind of appears. He's not just an intimidating, like, dude that will go stab whatever. He's like this. He's human, and it's somehow
insidious plot.
Yeah, it could be even scarier that way. The fact that he could just be anyone around us, and he's stealthier, kind of the opposite of the other serial killers that we talked about. But then, like, the plot is a little bit more complicated than Halloween's, but it's just as effective, I think. And I mean, it's just as iconic. It just hits all the marks. It hits every single mark.
It definitely brought slasher to a new generation.
And I mean, Matthew Lillard is one of my favorite actors, and he, like, the performances that lack in Halloween, he brings it in this movie. I mean, there's some performances that are pretty iffy in that movie, but some stand out. I don't think any really stand out in Halloween, but in Scream, Matthew Lillard definitely does, and so does the other guy's name. I forgot his name, but I don't want to say more in case anybody hasn't seen it. But I love Scream. I think it deserves the praise it gets, just like Halloween does. So,
all right.
I know it's kind of a hot take, but I had to put it out there. Tell me what you guys think. In the comments.
So I think for mine, we have a couple in common. We have Halloween,
right,
and The Conjuring. I'm not gonna rank mine in order because I feel like my favorite movies float from one day to the next.
Yeah, it's super hard to like.
It's really hard, yeah. So I'll just say what I think are 5 that are like top of mind. But I also want to throw a couple honorable mentions out there because I honestly cannot tell you like what my favorite movie is or my favorite horror movie is. But I can tell you some that jump out at me. 1, Halloween.
Right.
For all the reasons we already talked about. The Conjuring.
Would you say that's your favorite? Like, above the others, even though you're not ranking? Or would you say it still mixes in there with the rest?
No, I think it mixes in there with the rest. I think it's just one of those movies that you go back to because it just makes you feel like Halloween.
Right.
It's the aesthetic of it. I think that's really the nostalgia of it and all that. The Conjuring, for all the reasons you said, incredibly good movie, especially the first one, but the entire franchise to me has been well executed.
And another thing with Conjuring that I mean, there's iconic scenes in that as well, like the clap in the basement when she has the torch. Like, it was so well done, you know. Like, that's why
all these little creepy moments.
Yeah, James Wan is excellent.
Yeah, they really kind of re-energize the paranormal type movies.
Absolutely.
But I'm gonna go a little bit old school on you, and I'm gonna say Psycho, because that really was the kind of sort of a slasher movie back in the day with Hitchcock's original, and really well executed, excellent movie. Still can watch it today and feel good about it. The remake wasn't too bad, but still the original is really good. Poltergeist in the 80s, love that movie. For its time, and still today, it is a good paranormal movie. It's better than some modern paranormal movies.
To me, I mean, it's definitely on the weirder side. It kind of strays from the norm. But yeah, I mean, it's super well done, and it hits the mark even today.
Great performances.
Yeah.
I think throughout in the plot, it was just creepy and really good visuals and stuff, especially for its time. But even today, you watch it and it still holds up. You know, I mean, you can tell what was special effects with 4K TVs and stuff, but yeah, it still holds up. And then it, for all the reasons you said, that's also in my top 5. Definitely fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Creepy, still puts me on the edge of my seat when I watch it, even though I've seen it 3 or 4 times. But a couple honorable mentions, very recent movies.
Okay.
Weapons. If you guys haven't seen Weapons, I will not say that much.
I haven't seen Weapons. I want to see it so bad.
But Weapons brings a whole different,
Right.
It just it really kind of takes a different point of view on horror. It's almost a dark comedy, but not quite. I guess you could call it a dark comedy, but I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah.
But it had this weird twist of funny peppered through it. That it was kind of a unique layering. It's really well executed. I thought it was a good movie and one that's I'll probably rewatch it and like it more. It's like one of those types of movies. And one other honorable mention is the Talk to Me movie, the one with the hand.
Right. Yeah, that one's freaky.
That one is freaky. It's
super
disturbing. Really well done.
Yeah.
There are a couple of scenes in there that are hard to watch for me anyway, where it gets like hyper realistic on the gore. But mostly it does it without a ton of gore, and it has this really creepy effect and really well executed. So
yeah, I agree.
Anyway, that's kind of my top 5 plus. And if you ask me tomorrow, I'd probably give you a different answer. But those are movies I really do enjoy.
I'd probably say Psycho is a little too old school for me, for my generation.
You gotta appreciate the impact it had.
Yeah, I have to appreciate it. It's a great movie. I mean, really well done. Also pretty simple but effective.
Yeah.
Right. Iconic with the shower scene.
Yeah.
You got to appreciate it.
But edgy too for its time because it had like sexual overtones.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Norman was kind of a creep.
Looking at it from someone who lived in that era, their perspective. I mean, I'm sure it was like, oh my god, crazy. But yeah, now that I'm 23, it's like
you do that all the time.
Yeah, well, whatever. And I think it's just like, I don't know, it's a little too old school for me. Pushing the limits, but you have to appreciate it. It's just too old for me to, or not too old, but too old school to put it in my top 5.
There are a lot of great horror movies along the way that have kind of redefined that genre. I mean, Rosemary's Baby,
absolutely,
The Omen. Yep. There's been a lot. There's just been from the 50s all the way up to today. That's what is really good about the horror genre is that it's not afraid to go in places that are new and different in ways other genres can't do or don't always do. But when they do it, right, you get really good movies that are like, wow, this is new and different. But in order to get there, it just seems like they have to create a lot of crap.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I really appreciate about the horror genre is you have to get creative with it or it's just boring.
Yeah.
So I love when people twist stories or twist concepts to make it their own and it's like unique. Yeah. That's what makes a horror movie good, I know I didn't mention these movies, but they're also incredible. The Ari Aster movies, Hereditary and Midsommar, incredible movies.
I was surprised Hereditary was
I know. The only thing that doesn't put Hereditary there, even though it was absolutely horrifying on my first watch, is it's not as good as the second time. You watch it again, and all the fear factor's kind of gone. Like the shock that it gives you in the first watch, although unique, super unique and well executed.
It's kind of like the found footage movies.
Yeah, I mean you watch it once and then it's great, absolutely great, and then you watch it again and it's like I'm not scared anymore, like at all. You know, so it sucks.
That's how Blair Witch was.
Yeah,
it was great when you first see it, and maybe the first couple times, but then after a while you're just like it's kind of boring. Paranormal Activity. I thought was really
love
creepy.
that movie.
Now I watch it and it's still kind of creepy.
It's still scary, yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of lost that edge to it.
You know
what's another one that just came out? Another honorable mention is Heretic.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about Heretic. I haven't seen Heretic.
That is a good one. That's a really cool movie.
I need to watch that too.
Yeah, and Hugh Grant. I mean, he does a great job. You wouldn't expect him to be.
Yeah, that's great. I forgot Hugh Grant was in that. Yeah, that's insane.
So that one was another one that just came out recently. Really good. And I mean, honestly, the horror genre, you can expect one, maybe two really good films to come out in a year or two.
Yeah.
And the last couple of years, they've spun out quite a few.
Honestly,
solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think since 2022, there have been like Barbarian. I thought was good. Smile. I don't know what the other ones are, but yeah.
Last Rites, Conjuring Last Rites just came out.
Yeah.
That was another one. It's pretty decent. Definitely not as good as the first one.
Conjuring 3
solid movie.
was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
You know?
Devil Made Me Do It.
Yeah. So and I also want to say, I love Hereditary. Okay, I know a lot of you guys love Hereditary, but I don't want to say that's not good. I'd say it's not as scary on the second watch. That's what I want to say. I don't know if I said it wasn't as good on the second watch.
You're gonna get a bunch of hate comments.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. It's just as good, no matter how many times you watch it. It's just not. It loses its edge once you watch.
Be gentle. It's only our 4th podcast.
Yeah,
he doesn't know any better.
Yeah. Right. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I mean, I just always I respect the horror genre. That's why I love Halloween. I mean, I love the vibe. I love watching these movies. I just need to watch more. Like, I can't believe I haven't seen Weapons. I heard The Long Walk was pretty good.
Long Walk was decent.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
so
that wasn't bad.
So I need to watch that too. But yeah, I love the horror genre. Now I think what we should get into now. It's kind of late since we stopped talking about the movie, but we should talk about what we would rate the movie now. So, what would you say?
So, Halloween.
Yes.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a 7.
7.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Because mostly because of, for its time, the effect it had on the genre, and kind of those classic images we've all come to know now from that movie.
Right. Okay. What would you say the second one is? What would you rate the second one? Just for a bonus.
I would give the second one an 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think John Carpenter knew he was onto something. He got a little bit bigger budget, and he was able to really drive it home in part 2.
Okay.
And you felt a little bit more of a plot there.
Yeah.
Slightly better performances. Still cheesy. Still some cheap tricks in the plot. That kind of stuff.
Right.
But nonetheless, I think it was a slightly better, maybe 7.5. Slightly better movie than part 1, but good part 1, part 2 sequel.
Very nice. Okay. I'd probably say I'd give it an 8.5. It's a solid 8.5. Like, I think if I didn't, because we watched it last night. I'd say before we watched it, I probably would have given it a lower rating, maybe slightly lower. But now that I watched it again super recently, I kind of watched every single second of it. There was not I was focused on it the whole time. Right.
You kind of appreciate.
Yeah, and I appreciate the movie a lot more now because I've noticed these little things. Because this is kind of a movie that, if you've seen it before, you can kind of turn on for the vibes, right? So you turn on, leave it on the background, and do other stuff.
And you hear that.
Yeah, it's like yes, right. And that's what I usually do. Yeah. But this time we wanted to really
actually watch it and pay attention to the plot.
Getting the full scope of everything, I really appreciate how effective the plot is and how. And how well executed everything is. So I'd have to give it an 8.5.
All right. What about part 2 for a bonus?
Part 2, I'd probably give an 8.
Okay.
I'd say the first one is better, just because it made.
Just because it's so original.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
That's fair. But second one, pretty much just as good, I think. But yeah, I think that just about covers everything. Appreciate you guys for checking out this 4th installment. We don't know what we're going to be doing for the 5th episode, but stay tuned for that one. We will be doing that.
And put it in the comments if you have any suggestions.
Yep, if you have any suggestions, we will listen to them and we'll, So appreciate you guys again. Stay tuned for the next episode, and thank you for watching this one.
Yep, and happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.